video is sponsored by Curology. Start your journey today by clicking my link below. Hey y'all, it's me, Bussy Stevens, and welcome back to my channel. Because, you know, Illinois, that was his musical that I saw after I was at Coachella. I went to New York, but I am back from Coachella. Anyways, today we're going to be covering the latest drama between Elliott with Two T's and Kandy Muse part 3769, the sequel. Plus recapping and discussing the Nothing Salad that was All-Star Season 9 Episode 11, part 1 of the grand finale extravaganza. So let's jump right in. First up, Elliott with Two T's versus Kandy Muse. So this drama, or really ongoing call out of Elliott's behavior, has been going on since the airing of Drag Race Season 13 in 2021. And it all began, maybe most infamously, with the comments Elliott made about Simone's drag being black girl magic but not aggressive in a YouTube video where she was sitting alongside queens like Coco and Kahana Montrese.
She is, in a word, black girl magic.
Yeah.
That is what she brought. She felt that should be her message.
And
but she did it so elegantly, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't aggressive.
You can't come for it.
It wasn't
It was
aggressive.
So
it was done.
put together.
It was done with taste.
After the clip from this video containing Elliott's comments went viral, she did end up posting a Notes app apology to her social media profile several weeks later, in which she says her intentions were never to refer to anyone's message as being aggressive, and goes on to say that she was describing her drags, but the words she should have used were runway ready to wear, not over the top, understated in a high fashion way, and says that the word aggressive was never meant to reflect her personality or message, and says she admittedly misused the term black girl magic to describe her aesthetic. However, queens like Kandy Muse continue to be pretty vocal about Elliott's use of microaggressions behind the scenes on the set of filming RuPaul's Drag Race.
At that point, the words, well, don't you think the judges want Kandy to be less ghetto, have already been said. By that point, Simone's do-rag train was already called Ratchet. Come on, Ratchet. When I was telling Miss Thing, have some sense of awareness, read the room, it wasn't an attack. It was, I'm coming to you as a sister to let you know that the things you are saying are not cool. The things you are saying to me and the girls of color is not popping.
And in April of 2021, when we were nearing the end of season 13, there was a podcast interview done with Simone and Kandy Muse, where they spoke at length about the Black Girl Magic comments and how they perceived Elliott's apologies regarding the situation.
My feelings are, at first I wasn't taken aback by, because I was like, oh, maybe she misspoke. But then what really got me was her going online and defending it and saying she was complimenting me. And when people were trying to explain to her what was going on, she still didn't want to hear it or receive it. So at that point, it's kind of like, I'm done. It's performative and there's a lack of accountability. Right. So where are we supposed to go?
And in this interview, Simone and Kandy go on to discuss Elliott's lack of accountability and lack of direct apologies and conversations with those she's offended. Finally, going on to say that instead of trying to resolve these issues in private with those people she's offended, she's done performative things, such as post public apologies and do NAACP interviews, which were posted to YouTube. And in an episode of No Gorge posted in late 2022, Elliott came under fire again because Gottmik was discussing a certain cast member who she doesn't name in the No Gorge podcast as having made certain transphobic comments while filming season 13.
No, when I was on Drag Race, there was like someone on my season that was like just being like transphobic.
What's one of the comments they would say?
It was just like, it was giving very like, oh, move like, it was just like, yeah.
To you?
Yes! And then she would also say like really crazy, like calling Simone ghetto and stuff. Yeah.
And this clip from the No Gorge podcast went viral on TikTok, where Kandy Muse there alleged the person Gottmik was talking about was indeed Elliott with two T's. And then later at the end of 2022, we do hear in a Twitter space clip, which is still live on O80's channel, Tamisha Iman defending Elliott and essentially saying that the mean girls and bullies of season 13 took a bunch of lies and ran with them for profit.
Season 13, the girls, whomever they are, that put out that Elliott was a racist, lied on her. A lot of these girls made money off of lies that they told, and they stuck together.
And in that YouTube video, there's actually a comment from Gottmik where she writes, not sure why this is being brought up at this point again, but I never said Elliott wasn't nice. She's always been sweet. What we have said is that she said a few words and phrases that made us uncomfortable, some of which we have never even spoken about publicly, and we told told her both in person and via phone after the fact. She has literally apologized for saying these things publicly and has been nothing but nice since as well. But coming on here and saying we made any transphobic / racist comments up and making up new stuff that we said isn't called for and is why people don't want to stand up for themselves when there's an actual problem. I would never make something like that up, and I know my sisters that were there would never either. And in addition to that Twitter Space Live, we also do see a Twitter thread posted by Tamisha in this same time period at the end of 2022 where she says things like, "That was lies," in all caps, regarding the situation with Elliott with 2 T's, and where a person on Twitter asks Tamisha directly, "Kandy and Mick lied?" And Tamisha responds, "If that was who started the rumors, yes. I work with Elliott almost every weekend and all I see is how these lies has caused her mental stress and money because people are quick to spread a lie instead of defending the truth." And we do also see a tweet from Kandy Muse addressing the situation where she says, "We're about to go to 2023. That's what, 2/3 years since we filmed season 13? I refuse to speak of that person ever again. She knows the truth. I do not stand by bullying, so please leave that girl alone." However, saying, quote, "trans people lie" is crazy. And Elliott has mostly not maintained an online presence over the past couple of years, but he came back to Twitter earlier this year to discuss her political activism in a tweet where she wrote, "No one else from my season went to the US Capitol to fight for trans rights and stopping for drag bans. Again, really look at the people y'all are idolizing because they're not good people. Just because they're the loudest in the room doesn't make them right." And then after facing some backlash from users in the comments, went on to share videos from the season 13 press week era where queens like Gottmik and Simone had nice things to say about Elliott. And she ended this stint on the X platform with a post writing, "Yep, y'all still corny and obsessed with me. LOL, logging back out of this wasteland. Y'all can't accept anything other than the lies y'all been fed. Maybe, just maybe, what is being said about me is being said by bad people. Maybe. Continue y'all's foolishness and stupidity." Then finally posting a meme about leading a horse to water but not being able to make him drink, and then apparently taking another hiatus from the platform. However, Elliott has broken her silence again, this time appearing on an interview with Joseph Shepard in his YouTube series Exposed, where we learn from the outset that Elliott apparently is the one who requested the interview with Joseph. But first, breaking news. It's officially clear skin summer, and that's thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Curology. So I'm thrilled to report I've been using Curology's 3-step routine for over 2 years now, and I couldn't be happier with the results. Here's how it works. First, I wash my face with Curology's acne cleanser formulated with benzoyl peroxide to treat and help prevent acne. Effective but gentle enough for everyday use. Then at night, I apply my Curology custom formula, a leave-on overnight treatment cream customized by a dermatology provider. This is what keeps my skin free of breakouts, clogged pores, and blackheads. And finally, I top it all off with the Curology Rich Moisturizer with hyaluronic acid and shea butter. And when I first started using Curology, I noticed my breakouts were less frequent and less severe after just a couple of weeks. And over time, I've noticed improvements in my skin's fine lines, tone, and texture. Remember though, your results may vary, and while Curology isn't a miracle working product, it certainly has brought a level of consistency to my skin that is truly invaluable. Oh, and an absolute must for those sunny days is the Curology sunscreen. Finally, a no-clog, grease-free formula with SPF 30 that melts right into your skin and works with the Curology skincare routine. I love using Curology, and you will too. And you can start your Curology journey today by clicking the link in the description of my video. On their site, you'll take a quick quiz to assess your skincare needs and upload 3 selfies. Then a dermatology provider will take a look at everything and prescribe a custom formula and skincare routine to work alongside it. And don't forget you can use the Curology portal at any time to manage or track your upcoming shipments, or talk directly to a dermatology provider in the messages tab should you have any questions about your routine. You deserve to feel confident in your skin too. So head to the link in the description of my video for a special offer on your first Curology order. Thanks Curology for sponsoring today's video. And it's Elliott's hopes or goals in this interview that she can clear the air about what's been said and share her side of the story.
I had a queen reach out to me and she wants to tell her side of the story. There's been a lot of negative things that have gone on online.
And throughout the over 1 hour long interview Elliott does with Joseph, we see them go piece by piece through most every dramatic moment and call out Elliott has dealt with online, starting all the way back with those black girl magic but not aggressive comments she made in early 2021. And Elliott doesn't share a ton of new information in this interview, but does elaborate on her ignorance and misunderstanding of certain words and terms she may have used in the past, and insists throughout the interview that she is trying to do better. However, there are some interesting points in this interview that seem to be contested between her and queens like Kandy Muse and Simone regarding the incidents. For example, Elliott says in the interview that after the Black Girl Magic comment, she tried to apologize to Simone directly, messaging her many times but never received a response back.
I even tried reaching out to Simone and I texted her over and over again and I never got a response. So I really didn't know what to do at that point.
Which is directly at odds with how Simone and Kandy have talked about the incident and Elliott's attempt at apologizing or fixing it in places like the podcast we looked at earlier. And regarding the alleged transphobic comments Elliott made while on set of season 13, she insists that she would have never said the T word and says that if she did say anything, she wouldn't have known that it was offensive because while she was saying whatever it was that she may or may not have been saying, she felt that she was being friendly and relatable to Gottmik and was not actually offending her in the way or methods of what she was saying.
I would never said the T word to anyone. I would never said that. Sure, it shouldn't be Gottmik's job to police me in what I say, but also how do I know if I'm upsetting someone if you don't say anything to me? Even Violet says, is she just stupid and doesn't realize what she's saying? If that were the case, sure, but how would I know if I were making someone uncomfortable? They even said in the interview, I was saying stupid things trying to fit in. So how did that turn into me being transphobic and racist?
And regarding these comments and the No Gorge podcast situation, Elliott says she did directly reach out to Gottmik, but received a confusing response in which Gottmik says she thought they were fine. And we hear Elliott saying she denies Gottmik ever told her not to say specific things she was saying.
When that article came out, I did message Gottmik and I said, I just don't understand why you would say something like that if you were just nice to my face. But then you go on a podcast and talk about me as if I am this like horrible monster.
Did Gottmik respond when you sent the message?
Yeah, and said, oh, I thought we were good. I thought everything was fine.
So when Gottmik was saying in this interview that she told you a few times, like, oh, like, don't say that, don't do that. Did that ever happen?
No.
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 And finally, the interview ends with Elliott discussing her current political activism and talking about how she's genuinely trying to be a better person and wishes things from the past went differently.
I joined the Human Rights Campaign as a steering committee member. I made it a point to go on the National Lobby Day to sit down with members of Congress and state senators to help protect trans women and trans women of color. I hope people see that I'm trying and trying to be a better person. I wish things had gone completely differently. I wish we were able to have one-on-one conversations about things that had gone on.
But to maybe no one's surprise, this interview has received negative reception from queens like Kandy Muse, who have been very vocal about calling her out. On her X profile the day the interview went live, Kandy Muse wrote this: going on a podcast and asking for an interview 4 years later to make yourself the victim and still not take accountability for the shit you said and did on set is whack. Joseph, take the L on that whack-ass interview. No one told me anything. Babes, there's literal footage of me calling you out in Untucked. Enough with this topic, I'm done beating a dead horse. Followed up with, and since you want to talk about no one called you out, baby, don't even try it, and even after your ass blocked me, I still made sure you were included in the group photo at DragCon. That victim complex is dangerous. And attached to that post, Kandy included several screenshots from what is apparently the group message thread of the cast members from season 13. In the first screenshot, we see a message from Elliott Drag Race in which this person is sharing a video titled Human Connections, two queens, real talk, Elliott with two T's, joined by president of the NAACP of Vegas, which is a video mentioned earlier where Elliott sat down in a video call with the NAACP president and discussed things like the Black Girl Magic comment Elliott made about Simone. And following up the link to that video was another message seemingly from Elliott that says, if y'all could share, that'd be great, which has been disliked by someone in the thread who we can assume to be Kandy. And a reply from presumably Kandy in which she writes, Elliott, you haven't reached out to anyone that you offended on set and or off not to explain yourself or apologize to your castmates or your fans. I watched the video and you didn't own up to anything. You didn't apologize about anything. I will absolutely not be sharing this video. When you own up to calling me ghetto, Simone Ratchet, using AAVE on set around POC, and asking some of our castmates what genitals Mick has, you have lost your mind. There is no sense of accountability. I'm not sharing a video where your friends validate your mistakes. And after that message, we see that Elliott Drag Race has left the conversation, where we also see a timestamp of March 9th, 2021. And in the next screenshot, we see a message presumably from Kandy, where she wrote LMFAO child with a screenshot attached of Elliott With Two T's Twitter profile, who apparently blocked Kandy at the time, and a follow-up message, someone collect your girl. And then in the final screenshot attached to this Twitter thread, we see messages from Olivia, Drag Race, with some photos of the season 13 group from the DragCon in 2022. And Elliott has replied to Kandy Muse's recent comments on this situation in an exclusive comment with Out Magazine, where she said in response, "By doing this interview, I've taken accountability by addressing everything head on, and I want to rise above this. It's not about being a victim. I've been the target of hate and abuse for too long. This is something that has deeply affected me, and I just want to use my platform to spread love and kindness. At this point, I've apologized to the best of my abilities and even taken steps to educate myself. Every story has three sides, my side, their side, and the truth. I genuinely want to move past this. I am not racist or transphobic and do not have the ability to be so in my heart. I wish Kandy all the best, and I forgive her for all the hurt she has caused me. However, my name is spelled Elliott with two T's. There are no K's in my name." There at her comment seemingly addressing how she said in the Joseph Shepard interview that Kandy was apparently going around clubs calling her Elliott with three K's instead of Elliott with two T's.
I ended up blocking her because I kept seeing her on microphones calling me Elliott with three K's at shows all over the country. And so there's cities that won't book me because of her saying that on the microphone.
And that is where, as of July 19, 2024, we end the ongoing feud between Elliott with two T's and Kandy Muse, which is so crazy. I genuinely cannot believe we are 3.5 years past when all this started, and this drama is still going on. I mean, this has to be the longest running feud in Drag Race history. So there's that. Anyways, let's finally jump into our recap of All Stars 9, episode 11, which is part 1 of a 2-part finale, and is honestly mostly just setup and filler for what will be the real finale occurring next week in part 2, which, as we learned from Rupaul, will include both the Slay It Forward variety show extravaganza and a final 3 lip sync for the crown, scepter, and $200,000 cash prize for charity. RuPaul lets all the girls know that the gag of the season is the top 2 queens of the variety show next week are actually not going to be just winning 1 badge, but 3 each. Which means the final 3 lip sync for the crown is truly anyone's game, with only Roxxxy at this point seemingly having a guaranteed spot in the finale, but more on that in just a minute. And this was a pretty crazy announcement from Ru because I expected a twist in which a queen with like 2 badges could still enter the finale, but I didn't expect a twist that effectively rendered every queen with less than 5 badges on the same playing field. Because if you're doing the math here, it means even the girls with 4 badges, Jorgeous and Plastique, have to win the variety show just to share a spot in the final 3 with Roxxxy, or potentially rely on some weird tie-breaking decision. Because if, let's say, Roxxxy won alongside Gottmik with only 2 badges here, then the 2 queens with 4 badges would be tied for that final 3 spot, which would mean they might have to do something like in All-Star 7, where Monet Exchange, who had the most badges going into the finale, had to make an on-the-spot decision to invite either Trinity or Jada into the finale with her, since after all the finale shenanigans, they were both tied. And in the rest of this episode, we do get a fun quick drag makeover with the production crew, 8 Tic Tac size Tic Tac lunches for the entire cast, because you know we've got to do 8 of them, and some behind the scenes footage of the queens rehearsing their talent shows and coming up with choreography with their dancers. Plus a totally very not fake and totally very real showmance between Gottmik and Vanjie, which was totally giving me #Brangie flashbacks, which I'm kind of now realizing not all of my audience may be old enough to remember. But let me know down in the comments below, are you team Brangie from season 11 or team Ganji from All Stars 9? And even though not a lot happened in this episode in terms of progressing the competitive narrative of the season, I did have a lot of fun with it, and I reacted to it over on my Patreon, and you can click the link in the description of my video to join and watch that with me there. But the second gag of the season is there's one more twist, because y'all wanted a twist, eh? So just when everyone is easing into the reality of how this variety show will be the ultimate deciding factor of who will actually enter the final 3, we see T.S. Madison pop up on the Rue mail screen to announce the final twist. The queens are going to be entering the lipstick voting booth to vote on who they want to receive the double diamond prize. A prize which will double the queen's beautiful benefactress badges. The terminology in this season is really crazy. Like, imagine explaining any of this to a straight person. It sounds like we're in Vegas, like, playing slot machines. And then you put your beautiful benefactress badge and multiply it by your double diamonds to get the Rupaul's chocolate bar prize. Oh, but sorry, there's more rules. The double diamond prize only comes into the mathematical equation of how many badges you have at the end of the episode after the final 3 badges from the Slay It Forward variety show extravaganza have been awarded to the top 2 queens of the week. This is honestly devious. It is devious. But what does it all mean? Well, let's do some math. So in a quick recap on badge count, we've got Nina, Gottmik, and Vanjie with 2, Angeria and Shannel with 3, Plastique and Jorgeous with 4, and Roxxxy Andrews with 5. And I made a little chart. I made a little chart? No, I made a little chart. I'm really losing it today. Okay, I made a little chart here which shows, depending on how things go, the number of badges that every queen could potentially end up with, depending on how the 2 variables of winning the variety show and winning the double diamond prize play out. And in my little chart, we can see that the queens holding 2 badges could end up with anywhere from between 2 and 10 badges. The queens with 3 to 12, the queens with 4 to 14, and the one queen with 5 to 16. And there are tons of different possible outcomes that we could see from the variety show and double diamond badge awarding. And you could honestly make yourself silly just trying to think through all of those. Trust me, I've tried. But there are really only 2 worth discussing because they relate to the strategic voting that the queens can do in the voting booth. Because the most strategic voting decision each queen could make ultimately boils down to rendering the double diamond prize completely ineffective. And there are 2 basic cases in which this can happen. The first is very specific. A queen with 2 badges would have to win the double diamond and also not win the talent show, and also Roxxxy would not have to place in the top 2 of the talent show. For example, let's say Nina wins the double diamond and does not win the talent show, and Roxxxy also does not win in the talent show. This would put Nina with 4 badges with the double diamonds doubling her current 2, and leave Roxxxy with 5 like she started the episode with, and then the 2 winning queens of the talent show would have somewhere between 5 and 7 badges, also putting them into the finale. In effect, Roxxxy keeps her guaranteed spot in the final 3, and there are 2 open spots, just like we started the episode as. And you can reason through the other outcome here where Roxxxy does win the talent show, but you'll see that the double diamond winner does ultimately matter in some of these cases, because Nina in this example would actually be subject to entering the final 3 based on a tiebreaker with the other queens who also have 4 badges. And so strategically speaking, voting for a queen with only 2 badges is something only Roxxxy should do. Any other queen making this vote is essentially taking a risk in losing their spot to that person if they also win the talent show or end up in that tiebreaker situation if Roxxxy wins the talent show. And the second case in which the double diamond is rendered ineffective and we are essentially back where we started at the beginning of this episode is much less specific. This would happen if Roxxxy were to win the double diamond, meaning she'd enter that final 3 with either 10 or 16 badges. And the other 2 remaining spots in the final 3 would be determined by the outcome of the variety show. And in that sense, if a queen is interested in getting that final 3 placement, then voting for Roxxxy is the only thing that makes sense. But how did our queens actually vote? Well, we didn't see all of the votes that were cast, but we do see Gottmik vote for Nina, which is really only the second best choice she could have made here, because she's essentially betting that Nina's not going to win the talent show and hoping that Roxxxy also doesn't. And we see Roxxxy voting for Nina, which was her best strategic choice. And we see Jorgeous vote for Plastique, and then Plastique and Nina both vote for Roxxxy, both of them there making the most strategic choice. But we don't actually see Angeria, Shannel, or Vanjie's vote revealed, which means as of current tallies, we've got a tie between Nina and Roxxxy. But let me know down in the comments below, how many beautiful benefactress badges do you think that each queen is going to end up with in the finale after they factor in the talent show and double diamond wins? And if you were in this situation, would you be playing strategy or maybe making bets on who would or wouldn't win the talent show? And I want to give a special thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Roxxxy, who's been helping me keep my skin consistently clear for over 2 years now. Roxxxy is the easiest easiest way to get powerful prescription skincare that actually works and, did I mention, comes right to your doorstep so you never run out of product. Just click my link below to start your Curology journey today and get a special offer on your first order. And lastly, I want to give an extra special shout out to Ashley Brungart, Ash Chun, Daddy D, Felicia, Laura, Matthew Burns, Nicole Finst, and Will and Tana, who are all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier at patreon.com. See y'all later. Love ya. Bye.